Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to NXT The Game Season 1, Episode 11, the first edition after NXT TakeOver Chicago. Let's get straight into the action. A music video is shown to promote Triple H. That is not the case, but we'll pretend that's the case. This is the opening segment running down what happened at NXT TakeOver Chicago. Triple H did introduce the show, however, and this is just going over all the matches. But if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. I don't know what happened here, but we're gonna go with it because we like to let things fly as they fly. So we're gonna get straight into the action. Tom Phillips, Nigel McGuinness, and Steve Corino pop up on the screen, and the crowd erupts. Tom Phillips welcomes us back to NXT and says we are just days removed from NXT TakeOver Chicago, and we have a great show tonight, including a TakeOver rematch. A graphic shows Peyton Royce defending her newly won NXT Women's Championship against Ruby Riott. Nigel McGuinness adds that William Regal was so upset that Billie Kay caused 2 months of work to be null and void with her interference tonight. It's Ruby getting a second chance against Peyton with Billie Kay banned from ringside. Candice LeRae's music hits now, the woman who was seen in attendance at NXT TakeOver Chicago, as she makes her way to the ring as the fanfare is involved and multiple people in the NXT Universe are chanting her name. Candice LeRae making her debut coming up now. In a poor match, though, Candice LeRae defeats Mandy Rose in 8 minutes with the Balls Plex. Candice LeRae gets her first victory here in NXT. Alright, so Candice LeRae with a victory after debuting at TakeOver Chicago. Roderick Strong now is shown backstage getting ready. Tonight, he will face someone who, though, in the main event, remains to be seen. We get a recap now of the Authors of Pain defending their NXT Tag Team titles successfully at NXT TakeOver Chicago. So, the Authors of Pain with Paul Ellering defended their titles against Roderick Strong and No Way Jose, and they are still your NXT Tag Team Champions. Alright, next, and about that had subpar wrestling, Cassius Ohno defeats Mada in 4 minutes with the Hangman's Clutch. Cassius Ohno gets the victory over Mada here tonight on NXT. This was just an enhancement match for Cassius Ohno. And to just basically get Mada on TV a little bit. William Regal is shown on screen and says that starting next week we'll start the NXT Money in the Bank qualifying matches. He said that while he did send Mr. NXT to make his debut and announce the NXT Money in the Bank briefcase last NXT TakeOver, he didn't give him a free pass. So tonight, when Mr. NXT takes on Roddy Strong, the winner, and only the winner, will be a part of the Money in the Bank match at NXT TakeOver. So that's who Roddy's facing, Mr. NXT, who made his debut. If you didn't see it, go back and watch it. NXT TakeOver Chicago. That was Season 1, Episode 10. That was just the previous episode. All right. Coming up next, we get the recap of the NXT Women's Championship match, the distraction, and the involvement of Billie Kay. Now, the match from earlier that was announced, Billie Kay and Ruby Riott for the NXT Women's Championship. In a poor match, Peyton Royce defeats Ruby Riott by pinfall with a surprise roll-up. Peyton Royce makes defense number 1 of her NXT Women's Championship. After the match, see, this is making me excited. We've had Steve Corino have chemistry with Nigel McGuinness. Steve Corino with chemistry now with Tom Phillips. And we've also got a Tom and Nigel chemistry note. So I'm pretty excited that I didn't know they had any chemistry, but they have great chemistry together, so that's great. But either way, Billie Kay comes down running after the match, hugs Peyton Royce. The iconic duo celebrates the victory, and Peyton Royce is still your NXT Women's Champion. Right now, Mr. NXT is shown walking down a backstage hallway on his way to the ring because coming up next, he will be in the main event against Roderick Strong. And we also see that next week on NXT, it'll be Ember Moon taking on Nikki Cross, taking on the newest member, and due to her win tonight on the NXT roster, Candice LeRae in a number 1 contenders match for the NXT Women's Championship. That'll be Ember Moon versus SAnitY's Nikki Cross versus Candice LeRae for a shot at Peyton Royce of the iconic duo at NXT TakeOver for the NXT Women's Championship. But also next week, the glorious one, NXT Champion Bobby Roode returns to NXT. But in our main event tonight, and about that had decent wrestling but didn't have much heat, Mr. NXT defeats Roddy Strong in 16 minutes with a high-speed roundhouse kick. Mr. NXT in his debut match here in NXT The Game 16 gets the victory over Roddy Strong. Got the crowd buzzing. Mr. NXT is getting better at his gimmick. So Mr. NXT with a win in the main event tonight over Roderick Strong, and this was NXT The Game Season 1, episode 11. We're going to have 5 more NXT TV shows go quickly to an NXT TakeOver event, then set up NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. We're not quite sure on the name. I'll announce it. I think the next show or the show after that with the NXT TakeOver special's name is. But this was NXT The Game Season 1 Episode 11. Thanks for watching, guys. And we'll be back in a couple days with the next NXT event.